welcome to Knicker. In today's video, we're going to go over part 1 of a 3-part video, kind of. Okay, so this one's going to be on how to make the hat for the gnome and then the Santa version of this. So the part 1 is going to be this hat. Then I'm going to do a video on how to make the basic body and nose and arms for the gnome. And then I'm going to do a video where I explain how to do the beard and how to make it look like a little Santa alternative thing. Breaking it up makes it easier for me so that I can actually edit this on my phone. So let's just go ahead and do that. The hats have actually 2 different versions, so I'm going to post both versions' patterns up here so that you can have it pretty immediately. The only difference really between these 2 patterns is the length of the top of the hat. So for the gnome hat, we go around for significantly longer to create this nice long kind of tip to the hat, whereas with the Santa, you have just going straight down. I like how that looks a lot, and I think it's super cute. So let's go ahead and get started. So for this project, you will need some pretty simple supplies. We have some Lion Brand Heartland yarn. I love the kind of two-tone-ish variegated aspect they have to this skein. It's a beautiful color. I will post up the name of the color because I'm not remembering what the name of it is off the top of my head. I think it's Redwood, but I'm not 100% sure. But this is a size 4 worsted weight. You can use any kind of red yarn that you want. I just really like how this looks. Use any kind of size 4 worsted weight red that you'd like. I am also, for the trim and for the little pom-pom top, I'm going to be using Yarn Bee For the Moment cream color. There's a bunch of other colors that they have, and I'm actually going to do a video next up. We're not going to go right into part 2 next up, but we're going to be going over how to make a cute little scrunchie using this faux fur yarn, which will be very, very seasonal and very, very cute. And I'll show all the different types of colors that they have that you can use for that pattern. So stay tuned. I'm actually going to post that probably a day or 2 after this one. So we'll see how that goes, if I actually do that in the time span that I'm saying I want to do it. All right, so this is a Hobby Lobby yarn. It is $5.99. You can get it on their website and you can order online. I know you can do that. And I know that this week is not on sale, but sometimes they have sales where the yarn is 30% off, but if it's not on sale, you can use a 40% off coupon. And not a lot of people know this, but you can actually use a 40% off coupon on one item in lieu of the sale. So definitely do that if you are at Hobby Lobby. I love doing that at my Hobby Lobby. I've asked a bunch of different managers. They've all said that that's something that you can do. So that's what I always do, even on sale weeks when I'm in the store. I know it's expensive, but when you get your sales and your 40% off at the very least off on that, it does bring it down to a little bit less than that. You're also going to need a darning needle, and you're also going to need some scissors for cutting. I'm just using some quick little sewing scissors. You will also need a crochet hook. This is my Furls crochet hook. I love this thing. I have an affiliate link for them down below. If you're interested in getting one of these for a discount, you can do that down below with my links. But otherwise, you can use any kind of crochet hook that you would like. I'm using a D3 or a 3.25 millimeter crochet hook. I love this one though in particular because it's ergonomic and it's beautiful and it makes me feel so fancy when I use it. So, you know, maybe get one of those down below. It's super awesome and I love it. They're a little pricey, but they're worth it. I also forgot you're going to need a size I or a J or a larger sized crochet hook for when you do the trim on this hat. I totally blanked on that. I'm sorry about that and having to add this on the extra. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so to start this project, I'm actually going to tilt my screen so that it's a little bit of a better angle. There we go. We're going to start out with our red worsted weight yarn. We're going to start with doing the top and go down, and then afterwards we add the faux fur and we do the pom-pom on top. So I'm going to create a nice long tail, not that long, like a good 4 inches, and we're going to do a slip knot. All of these terms are going to be down in the description in my Crochet 101 playlist. If you are not familiar with these, you're going to need to know how to do a slip knot, how to make a magic ring, or my version of the magic ring, which I will show, how to single crochet, and also how to increase and work in the round. So if you're comfortable with all those, then you're going to be comfortable with doing this. All right, so now that you've made your slip knot, you're going to add this to your hook. We're going to add that on, and I'm going to do what I call my magic ring. My magic ring is not the same as everybody else's. I can never wrap my brain around the normal magic ring, so this is just how I make mine. We are going to chain 2, so 1, 2, and we're going to skip the second chain from our hook, and we're going to go back inside the very first chain. Now here, we're going to place 6 single crochet. So going inside once, 1, go back inside that same, 2, back inside 3, back inside 4, and your center is going to open up. It's fine, you can tighten that later. 5 and 6. You'll also notice that when I crochet, I go from left to right instead of right to left. I'm dyslexic, and that's how I learned. And I actually like how the stitches look a bit better, so that's why I make my stitches that way. It will work either way you do it. However you crochet, this will be just fine, even if you don't go left to right. All right, so now we're gonna tilt our work. It is fairly important for you to go through the front loop only when it comes to this pattern. I will explain later, but it's mostly for hiding your tails fairly seamlessly afterwards. I'll show you how I do that. So we're going to go through the front loop only. Instead of going through both the V's here, we're just gonna go through this top one right here. So I'm gonna go through there, and we're going to single crochet 1 in our very first stitch that we made, our first single crochet. We're going to single crochet 1, and then in our next stitch, we're going to increase. So we're single crocheting 1, increase 3 times. We're going from 6 stitches up to 9. So single crochet 1, and increase. Single crochet 1, and increase. Now, if you were making the Santa, you skip what we do next for the gnome hat. For the gnome hat, we're doing rows 3 through 10, just single crocheting around. We're just getting it down to the length that you want it. Mine's about 2 inches long, so just kind of keep going around and around and around and around and around and around until you get it to the size and length that you want it. So for here, we have 9 stitches active. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm actually going to pull my tail through the stitch right here to work as a stitch marker, but I'm going to go off camera and I'm going to go just single crochet around, just around. Basically, we're just putting 1 stitch inside every single one of these 9 stitches, and we're doing that for rounds 3 through 10. So that is 8 rounds total, and I'll be right back as soon as those 8 rounds are done, and I'll show you how I continue to do my increasing to get this hat to be the size that I want it. We're going to be staggering our increases, but it's going to be a little bit different than in my staggering versus stacking increases video that I did a little bit ago, and I have that linked down below as well in case you were confused and you want to know more. Be right back as soon as I've gone around for rows 3 through 10, just single crocheting around every single round, every one of those 6 stitches, just 1 stitch in each of those 6 stitches. Be right back as soon as that is done. All right, so we've gone around for our rows 3 through 10, and here I'm going to continue on from rows 11 through 15, but for rows 16 through 23, which are also increasing rows, I'm going to just kind of speed through those because it's the same general premise. What our goal is we're going to increase 3 stitches every single round and just evenly spread them out as we increase. So I have a video on staggering versus stacking if you need further explanation on how to do that, but I am going to be doing a staggering method for my increases. So for here, we have 9 stitches on our work. We're going to go on row 11 and we're going to stagger our increases. For this, we're going to go from 9 to 12, and how you would usually do that is you would usually single crochet 2 and increase. But because we have an even number of single crochets between our increases, we can split those in half. Now, the reason why we do this is basically so that they're not stacked up on top of one another, all of our increases. When we stack them, it creates kind of a horizontal line that goes down your work, and when we stagger them, you do not get the line. It is much more seamless. I like how this looks better, and again, I'm going to post the little pattern excerpt for it right here if you would like to see it. I'm also going to have a printable PDF for this on my Ravelry store, and there will be a nice link for a coupon code for that if you download it within the first week of this upload. And I'm also going to be doing that for part 2 and part 3, so you can stay tuned for that if you miss it this week. So How we would usually do it is single crochet 2 and increase. However, we're going to stagger our stitches. And what I mean by that is we're going to single crochet 1. We're going to take the single crochet 2 essentially, and we're going to split it in half. We're going to single crochet 1, increase, and then single crochet 1. Now we do that again. Single crochet 1, increase, single crochet 1. We're going to do that one more time, but I just want to bring attention to the fact that there are still 2 single crochets between each of our increases. This just makes it so that all of our increases don't stack up on each other. So again, let's do that one more time. Single crochet 1, increase, single crochet 1. Now I'm going to take my tail and I'm going to bring that down just because A, I want my tail to be further away when I do eventually cut it, and B, I want it to be used as a stitch marker right here. So we're going to bring that down and I'm going to pull that through that little stitch right there. So here we're going on to row 12, and because this is a single crochet 3 increase, that's an odd number and we're not going to try to split it in any way. We're going to literally single crochet 3, 1, 2, 3, and then increase. So we're only staggering our stitches on the even row when our single crochets are basically even. When you are doing something like single crochet 3, you don't stagger on those ones, because if you staggered them like that, then they would all line up again. You want your stuff to just not line up, basically, so that it will look a bit more seamless. So single crochet 1. I pulled my yarn there. 2. Let's pull that through. There we go. 3. And increase. I bought this yarn bowl on Amazon and it keeps catching, and it drives me crazy because I did not sand the inside of my yarn bowl. Like, would not buy again. I'm gonna have to end up taking some sandpaper to the inside of that, but it's driving me crazy because there's no way to keep my ball from just flying everywhere on this desk if I don't have a good yarn bowl, basically. All right, so we're gonna do that one more time. Single crochet 1, 2, 3, and then our 4th stitch here is going to be an increase. I'm going to move my tail up through right here just to make it so that I can keep track of where I am. Move that along forward. And for row 13, we're going to do the same thing where we stagger our stitches. Before, we just did single crochet 3 and increase. We are at 15 stitches now. And now for row 13, we're going to single crochet 2, increase, single crochet 2. We're splitting the difference between what would be usually a single crochet 4 and increase, basically. We're going to be going from 15 stitches up to 18. So single crochet 1, 2, increase, single crochet 1, 2. Do that again. So single crochet 1, I split my yarn in there somewhere. Ooh. Oh, come on. 2, and increase. I'm struggling with that last. And then 1 and 2. And again, you can tell that there are 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches between each of your increases there. So now we just have one more repetition of single crochet 1. Oop, go through the entire stitch. There we go. And 2. Increase 1 inside the same stitch, 2. And then single crochet 1 and 2. I'm going to move along my tail And every time we do a row, we're basically adding 1 stitch every single time. We're adding 3 stitches to each row, but we're adding a stitch between each of our increases essentially. So now we're on row 14 and we're going to single crochet 5 and increase. We're adding 1 to each, 1 space between each increase basically. We're doing another stitch between each one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and increase. 1, 2. My cat's feeling mouthy. Yeah, I know. Oh, I know. I should not be doing this right now. Should I be laying and sitting with you? Yeah. Why don't you just lay down there? All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and increase. And then our final 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oop. There we go. 5. And increase. So we're going to do one more row, row 15, and then I'm going to basically post up what the pattern is for 16 through 23, because it gets very tedious when you're just increasing 3 stitches every single round. We're going to be doing this we just did 21 stitches. We're going to be going up to 24, and this pattern calls for us to go all the way up to 48. So that's another good almost 10 rounds of just doing, well, more like 8. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 8 more rounds of just adding 3 stitches, and I feel like that's really tedious to show. So again, we're going to stagger our stitches. We're going to single crochet 3, 1, 2, 3, increase, and then 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, increase, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, increase, and then 1, 2, 3. We're going to move our tail forward. And now for rows 16 through 23, I'm going to post a little pop-up up here of exactly what the pattern calls for. And then we're going to go over how to basically go from there into making our brim, because we're going to single crochet around sometimes. But that's when I'm going to be whipping out my larger size hook, and I'll show you what that looks like as soon as I get all of my increasing done. That's all I'm getting through to this pattern. I'm going to post right here exactly what I'm doing off camera, and I'll be right back. And I'm probably going to go sit with my cat because apparently she needs a lot of attention right now. So we're going to go sit and talk it out. All right, be right back. All right, so light change because it's now tomorrow on my time, but you know, been only like 2 seconds for you. But here we are going, oops, I actually let go of one of my stitches. We're gonna be going from our D3 to a larger size hook. It's whatever your fur yarn calls for. Mine calls for between an I and a J, and I happen to have an I, so I'm going to use my beautiful I hook. I'm so excited I don't get to use this one other than when I'm making blankets. So here is where you want to go around and just single crochet around those 48 stitches you just made. And you're going to do that with just one single crochet in every single one of those with your larger hook. This is going to help it so that when we do our fur yarn, you can actually get them inside the stitches. Trust me, it's a bit of a pain in the butt to try to get it through, but you can go through just the top loop with your eye hook, and it takes a little bit, but you just need to go around, shove in, go around, and it makes your stitches larger, so it's easier for your fur to go through the round after this. And so essentially all we're doing is single crocheting this one round, and then for round 25, this is round 24, we're going to add and just single crochet around with the little faux fur yarn that we have. So I'm going to continue around, and then I'll show you how I transition to the faux fur yarn, and I'll be right back. You can see already that the stitches are much larger and it actually pops up. So that's why I do this, is it makes it look much better, and it's a bigger surface for our yarn to go onto. Be right back as soon as I've gone around all 48 stitches. Okay, so I've made a couple of these hats since I made my original one. And my original one, you can see that I was hiding my tails, and my goodness, that was very difficult to even get them through the back stitches here. So I have a new method that makes it so that it is completely seamless, and you will not have that little wonkiness here that I'm sure you've been questioning ever since I showed the bottom of it earlier. So here is what we do. We're going to take our fluffy yarn, and we're going to pull out enough so that the tail goes over at least half of your piece here. Don't worry about the other half. So this is about half. I'm going to go a little bit longer just to make sure that I can. And I'm going to take it and kind of pull it to the back, taking my red yarn over here, and we're going to take right here. And I've taken my hook, and I am still active with my last stitch, and I went through the top of my other stitch. We're going to very gently, it's sometimes easier to have it so that the little bumpy side, not the fuzzy side, is facing you when you're pulling through. So I'm going to do that. And I'm going to pull through all 3 of those little loops right there. And then I'm going to start working with my tail as if it is a piece of my work. I do this often when I'm hiding tails, but first and foremost, I want to actually tie these together so that they are just together, basically. So I'm going to knot once very loosely just to get it so that they are together, and then I'm going to go twice. This can be cut now, and I'm going to hide that in a little bit. Where'd my scissors go? There they went. All right, so let's cut a tail about 6 inches long for our red working yarn. Now we have our, you can either work this through with your fuzzy yarn, but I like to just hide it in the backs of the stitches afterwards. So now we're going to just chain 1 to help us with getting our work started. And we're going to kind of pull things a little bit tight, make things look nice. And now that I've got everything situated the way that I want it, and I bounced my camera for good luck, we are going to work with this as if it is a piece of our stitches. So we're going to go into our first stitch. It's really hard to see stitches with this fur yarn. I will say that immediately right now. So I kind of just wing it until it looks the way that I want it to look. But I'm going to stick my hook inside the first stitch, and I'm just going to single crochet, but I'm going to take this and put it on the top side of my crochet hook, and I'm going to pull through like so and just do a single crochet. So now we go in, find where our stitch was. You can always move your yarn a little bit, your fur yarn, and then put that back overlaying on top, pull through and pull through. I'm going to work with this until I get to about the halfway point right here, as if it is a piece of my work. Now don't worry, you might find that when you stop working with this in the middle of your stitches, that your puffiness of your faux fur looks a little as puffy on this side. When we hide our tail, we're going to work it through this half of the hat, or however far you want to go, basically. If you only want to work it this far, that's fine. However you want to do it, work with your tail until it is to the point where you can work your tail through the other side, basically. That's what creates an even puffiness to it, and it looks a lot better. So I'm going to continue just single crocheting around with this faux fur yarn until I get to the point where I am finishing off. And I'll show you how I do that with my other tail. I'm probably also going to show you how I hide this tail. I just go through the back loops, and that's why I go through front loop only, because it's a lot easier to hide your tails. So I'm going to continue working around with this faux fur yarn, and I'll be right back and show you how I finish off and how we do the pom-pom on top. Be right back. All right, so now we have the last 3 stitches to do. And what I do for the last 3 stitches here is I'm gonna continue and just finish them off like I would normal. So I'm just going to single crochet 1, go into the next one, single crochet 1, and go into the last one, single crochet 1. Now, you can kind of see the stitches along the top here. I'm going to try to stab my hook through whatever I really can on that part, and then I'm just gonna slip stitch off like so. I'm going to leave a nice long tail, probably about that long. I always cut along the little threaded part here, that way I don't cut the fur and it's not as messy afterwards. You can still kind of just pull on the end there, get a little bit of fluff off, pull a little bit of there, get a little bit of fluff off, but other than that, it's pretty much done. All right, so now we're going to pull that through, and I'm going to actually take it and go underneath my next stitch and pull that up and above. There is a loud plane happening right now. All right, so I'm going to pull that through, so it's going through the top, and now we're gonna take our darning needle and we're gonna thread that until we get to where we stopped with our tail on the other half, just so that it has a nice fullness to it. You can see here, it's not super blatant, but it does show, and that's what bothers me. From here to here, it is definitely less thick than the rest of it, which has the tail on the underside of it. So we're gonna take our tail, and we're gonna take it so that the threaded part is going outward, like so. I kind of just folded the threaded part so it's on the outsides, and I'm going to put that through my darning needle. I do that because it is hard to get it through otherwise. I like to keep my tail so that usually I just kind of put it in the middle and it's like this. However, with this, it is much simpler to leave it so that there's only like an inch on your end. Trust me, it's easier to get it through when you do it that way. So we're going to go up here and kind of stab our darning needle in to our very obvious single crochets from our previous round. I do it a couple of stitches at a time, and then I go to pull it through. I already lost it, that's why I do it that way. We're gonna pull that through, and now that is hidden right there. I'm gonna keep going until I reach to about there so that it is nice and bounced for luck. Balanced. So we're gonna do that again, put that back on, bring our camera back out. There we go. I can, make a professional video. Bring that again so that it's a smaller tail. It's just easier to do it this way. We stopped there, so let's go on and go underneath and go underneath. I like to try to do a couple of stitches at a time. There's about 4 single crochet there. We're gonna pull and hide. And now I've got 2 more stitches-ish until I get to the other point there. So now I go here and we hide again. See, that's what I didn't want to have happen. We are gonna go again underneath and underneath. So that's about right on par with where I ended before. That way this is hidden and that is hidden, and now I can pull on this like so, and now I can chop those off. And I like to just kind of make sure that it is level like so. Now you can't tell where the tail was. I'm gonna do the same thing with the top one, and then I'm going to hide. There we go, pull that. All of your yarn ends are hidden other than these 2 tails. So I'm actually going to hold on to this one for just a second, and then I'm going to just chop it so that it's pretty hidden on the inside. Try to get it as close as I can without snipping anything. We're then going to take this one, and we're going to take this and work it on the underside of your stitches. So I try to go on both parts of the stitches right there. I'll show in just a second. All right, so you can see here that I'm going on the undersides of my little loops. I'm gonna go up and pull that through. I'm actually gonna go up a couple more just because I am super paranoid about my tails and I hate when things unravel, especially if I've worked so hard on them. Oh, it's very frustrating. There we go, let's get that. Wait, did that go through? No, it did not. Okay, good. And now we're gonna go back up along the back stitches as well, just going in the opposite direction. That way it's nice and hidden, and now you can't see it. I stop right around there. I do about 1 inch both ways, and now I can just snip that and call it good. All right, so now the hat base is done. You are good right there. It's all fairly even. I'm pretty happy with how that looks. We're going to now put that in my yarn mill ends, and now we're going to make a pom-pom. The way that I do that is I'm going to pull this. We're going to make, again, a nice good, I don't know, 12-inch, 8-inch tail, and I'm going to make a slip knot. This is where things get fun. We're going to chain 4. So 1, 2, not that you can tell where your chains are at all with this yarn, 3, and 4. So actually I'm going to chain 5. I think that's what I had in the pattern. I think I misspoke. There we go. So we're going to chain 5, and now we're going to try to put our hook back inside the very first chain. I kind of just find where my tail starts and I wiggle it in, and then we're just going to slip stitch. I'm going to do a quick little slip stitch, and that is it. That is our pom-pom. We're then going to cut, again, another very long tail. We're going to cut it so that it is on the braided part, because otherwise you end up with 5 million. I did that one really well. So otherwise you end up with a lot of different fur. That's what I like about this yarn, actually, is that it doesn't unravel a lot like a lot of other faux furs. Pulling our yarn through. And now we're on the very last part of our hat. Oh, that's a darning needle. Let's put you there, and let's put you there. We're going to take our darning needle, and again, we're going to put it on to our needle. We're going to put our faux fur right there. I'm going to pull it through, again, leaving just like a little small thing. And here is where I like to take the top. You have your center right here. I like to go to the right with one tail, and I like to go to the left with the other tail. So these are essentially going to go, one's going to go through the right of that 6 side over here, and this one's going to go through the left of it. So here, I'm going to just take my darning needle and try to thread it through the center of my hat. It's easier with a Santa hat than it is with the gnome hat because you have less stitches. We're going to go all the way through. We're going to pull that through and then take that off, pull it all the way through until your pom-pom touches the top of the hat. This is what makes it a bit more flat. So here we're going to do that again, and it's a bit harder with the other side because you have to figure out what you just did. So we went through the side here. Now we're going to go through the other side, just kind of going through the side. And we're going to go through the center again and pull on that. And I didn't. This is what happens when you don't make it so that it is a small tail on the other side. It is harder to get things through. So let's go ahead and pull that through with our darning needle through. That's why I forgot for a second there. There we go. And you can take some glue if you really want to, if you want to make it flat. However, I think this looks really cute as is. And what I do to keep this on is you can either work it through the back stitches, or what I like to do is just double knot and shove it into the center of your hat as best you can. So we're going to do that, double knot as best you can. Again, this is hidden much better on the Santa hat than it is on this hat. So then, now that I've double knotted that, I'm going to cut it so that it is shorter. And again, I just got it everywhere. There we go. That's what happens. It becomes fluff. So now you have this, which I'm going to kind of just shove up there and give it a little bit more form. And that is how I make my cute little pom-pom. And that's pretty much it for this pattern. So this is, again, going to be part 1 of basically the gnome / Santa. The gnome and the Santa are really cute. I love how they turned out, but they're all going to be their own individual patterns. This is essentially the first step if you want to make those patterns. I'm going to hopefully get those up within the next week, hopefully before Christmas, which, you know, is kind of the point. So again, I want to say thank you for getting this far if you've gotten this far. I would like to give a shout out to my Patreon supporters. I do have some awesome people over there. We have some fun over there. I also would like to give a shout out to our Discord server, and I'd like to give a shout out to Golden Rose over there, who just revamped the entire Discord. So if you're interested in Discord and chatting to other people who are into crochet and knitting things, we have a whole like server over there about just that. So go ahead and join us over there. The links are down below. We have a bunch of affiliate links down below if you want to help support the channel. Again, Patreon, PayPal, everything like that. I am saving up for a new computer so that I can actually make better videos, because I'm currently editing on just my phone and filming on just my phone, which is pretty obvious for anybody who knows what editing, like good editing, looks like. This is, I'm working with what I got. So stay tuned for next week, where we're going to be going over how to make the gnome and how to do the body, the hands, and the nose. The body is actually fairly similar to the hat shape because, well, they start out the same so that they can go in line with one another. It looks really cute. My next video is actually going to be how to make these cute little faux fur scrunchies. So again, that is probably going to come up in the next couple of days. Stay tuned for that. And I think that's pretty much it. Be sure to subscribe, to like, hit the little bell if you want to be notified when we do post some cute little patterns and crochet things. Stay tuned for the printable PDF link down below. Again, it's going to be printed for a week out from every single one of these tutorials. So make sure to get it while you can. And until next time, guys, bye!